In this video, we're going to look at the main legislation itself in summary form. So here's a brief introduction to the Australian privacy principles. As you go through the rest of the course, we'll cover these principles in more detail. You'll see that there are 13 principles organised into 5 basic sections. The general section consists of principles 1 and 2. Principle 1 spells out the need for transparency in all dealings connected to data privacy. This is a general rule which must be applied to all the other principles, and amongst other things, this principle contains a list of items which need to be covered in a privacy policy. Principle 2 is about anonymity and pseudonymity, and this states that an individual has the right to hide their identity by dealing with an organization anonymously or using a pseudonym. The law also states that this right is no longer valid once it becomes impractical for an organization to provide services and process payment, etc. We'll not be devoting any more time to this principle in the course. The next 3 principles are all about data collection, and these are very important, so we'll be examining these in more detail throughout the course. You'll see that the principles make a distinction between solicited and unsolicited data collection. Solicited is any personal information intentionally gathered by an entity from an individual, either directly, such as during a phone call or when they filled in a form online, or indirectly, such as obtaining data from a list provider. Unsolicited therefore means personal information received without the organization actively seeking it. Principle 5, collection notification, states that there are certain matters that an organization needs to tell an individual when they gather their data, such as what they intend to do with the data and who they might share it with. This applies to both solicited and unsolicited data, and data gathered directly and indirectly. So clearly you need to notify people in different ways depending on how the data was gathered. Moving on to the use of data, Principle 6 is all about disclosure. In other words, what is acceptable in terms of sharing or disclosing the data with another entity. Principle 7 is specifically about direct marketing, although it's important to recognize that most of the other principles are relevant to direct marketing practices as well, not just Principle 7. Principle 8 provides guidelines for moving data across national boundaries to safeguard individuals' privacy in a foreign jurisdiction. And Principle 9 covers some rules which apply particularly to government identifiers, which include information such as tax file numbers, passport numbers, and driver's licenses. The next section, data integrity, covers 2 principles: the need to maintain the accuracy and security of individuals' data. The last 2 principles are access and correction. Put simply, these 2 principles require an organization to firstly give a person access to the data they hold about them if requested, and secondly to correct their data if the individual requests it.